Okay, welcome back to everybody. I'm Jan again, and I'll let everybody else introduce themselves, say a little bit, and we'll get quickly on to this top table game.
Elliot can start. I mean, nobody knows who he is.
Everyone knows that. I'm Elliot Morrish. I'm the has-been of Kings of War. Ex-Rules Committee, ex-player. I've barely been to anything recently.
That's what having little ones does to you.
Yeah, ruins things, doesn't it?
It gets better when they get bigger. Promise.
Yeah.
And I'm Joey Greek. It's my third time on the show, so I hope people have been watching enough to know who I am at this point.
Fingers
But
crossed.
if not, I'm a U.S. player out in the Mid-Atlantic. Very excited to see how Quill uses his Night Stalkers, because we talk all the time about the army.
Cool. Right. Well, I shall put the main room onto large screen for everybody. We are going to be watching top table. Tom Robinson versus John Quayle, as it says along the bottom. A roll for sides has been done, and we are just sorting out the table, I believe, because all the scenarios come with the layout attached inside them, so they obviously want to have everything exact for this game. The scenario is push. It's a modified push. There are 3 tokens each and the one in the centre. The tokens have to be spread out. You cannot place more than 1 token on any unit. So you can place them on units still, but they have to be separate tokens. Oh, and we've just been joined by Mark Howard. I'll just add Mark to the stream. Hi, Mark. Welcome live. I'll just put the room camera back on big here. We found it easier than trying to sort the stream all the time. So,
yeah, it's fair.
Do you want to say something and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Mark Howard. I was doing 2 rounds of commentating yesterday, but I also am from the Mid-Atlantic, as Joe is as well.
Oh, and we've got Brinton just come in as well.
Oh, we got everybody.
Oh, we're getting everyone. Right. Brinton, welcome on board. I'm just going to put the big screen back up, but if you want to say hello to everybody so they know about you as well. Sorry to interrupt you there, Mark.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, good morning or evening or afternoon. Sorry for being late, just popped on.
You're okay.
And yeah, I'm Brinton. I'm a player and tournament organizer from West Coast of America. Yeah, and commentated yesterday on one, and I'm sneaking in a game today before the start of my day. So it'll be great.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, obviously we're starting the deployment. I don't know if anybody's got the lists open. I've not actually managed to catch much lunch yet, so I'm going to quickly dash out and come back. Do you want to talk through?
Yeah, I'll run us through. Shall I run us through Tom's first, and then we can go from there. So this is Tom's fluffy Varangur list. So he's got 3 regiments of Knight Raiders. They've all exchanged their throwing axes for bows, and they've all gone for the Wolf Handler upgrade, which gives them vicious melee to Tundra Wolves, which I don't think he has any, but also gives it to themselves, and Scout. He has 2 regiments of the Mounted Sons of Korgan, both with Stealthy, because it comes as standard. Blessing of the Gods on one, Chant of Hate on the other, so Elite and Vicious. 2 regiments of Snow Foxes for Chaff. 2 Lords on Frostfang, because I'm not sure his third one's got Luster. Both with the Snow Fox, one with the Blade of Slashing. Krufnir, the named hero that can hand out Duelist. And 2 Lords on Chimera with nothing on them. Total of 12 units, 19 unit strength. It's a scary list that I've played against quite a few times.
I heard you say fluffy.
Fluffy Varangur, yeah, because it's got Knight Raiders, and who brings Knight Raiders?
It at first I was like, I don't know that Elliot knows what that means, but now I see you're
it's got
just
fur.
being...
Lots of it has fur.
So now I feel like shit because I just ran my Varangur list for the first time on Friday night, and I take Unit of Night Raider.
You
Yeah,
should.
they're really
fluffy.
good.
He's on top table. You're clearly on the right path.
They put in the work. They killed a unit of Gladestalkers with shooting, and then took an objective point and raise.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like the upgrade. It basically makes them like alternative Gladestalkers at 140.
Ish, yeah. You're like, all right.
I think what you're kind of finding now is because Gladestalkers have all of a sudden become so popular, everyone's kind of looking again at those kind of Gladestalker light units and realizing things like the Night Raiders, because they've got Thunderous One and Pathfinder and Stealthy and all the stuff that you just think, actually, that's just enough to tip these over to being quite a dangerous unit.
Yeah. Also, like, I as a tragic human who is currently playing 5 units of Gladestalkers in a list, and I've played against them a few times now. Like the Sylvankin ones, I will admit, like with the stealth, it can get pretty gnarly, especially if they have open lanes where you can bring like 4 to 5 units to bear to start shooting people. But even the regular ones without stealth, like they're still just defense 3. I don't think people like caught on that you can just hit them with like Fireball, Lightning Bolt, or even just a unit that has 10 shots, hit them like twice. They're defense 3, so they kind of start to die. You just have to get out of that like headspace of like, if I show my face in front of them, I'm gonna get shot off the board instantly.
It helps that they lost the Spellword banner.
Yes, it does. But yeah, that's like my main thing I've noticed is I've played against quite a few non-Sylvan King Gladestalker lists at this point, and I mean once you start shooting them, it's just that sad thing of defense 3. They go down, and then once they start getting wavered, it's pretty much over for them. So,
but in Tom's list here, though, so you've got Stealthy built into your Night Raiders. You've got defense 3, but if you're shooting Night Raiders, you're not shooting Sons of Korgan, Lords on Frostfangs, and King on Chimeras. So
I
think
love Sons of Korgan.
Tom would be delighted if you were shooting his Night Raiders, I think, at this stage.
Right.
I mean, the Night Raiders are different than the old, but this just feels like the old V2 Varangur kind of back, and like you forgot about me and I'm back. It's Sons of Korgan are still scary. 2 giant flying Griblies are still scary.
And somebody else used the word Gribbly, so really my whole entire morning has been made.
And the Frostfang is still amazing. Having highly mobile, punchy 50 mil base units, especially in a world without withdrawal, still scary.
Krufnir is no slouch in himself either.
No, it's a really, as we've come to expect from Tom, it is a very well tuned. Everything has its exact piece, full of redundancy, and going to be painful. On that note, I can read John's list if we're up for that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he is playing Night Stalkers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 hordes of scarecrows. Just to start things out. 2 troops of phantoms. 3 regiments of soul flayers. I feel like someone didn't tell them they're bad now.
That's fine. We're just gonna ride this out together.
They're not bad.
I know.
They got the wrong nerve.
1 has Blade of Slashing, 1 has Helm of Drunken Ram, and 1 has Mace of Crushing. Helm of Drunken Ram on the right units is such an efficient item. 2 Mind Screeches, again talking about efficiency, one of the most efficient units in the game. It gets everything it would ever want, and extra special rules. 2 Horror Rift Reavers, the Dream Hunter, and then 2 Butcher Flesh Ripper heroes and a Dread Fiend hero. So
love Dread Fiend.
17 units, 27 unit strength.
I have to ask the question: what does the Dream Hunter do? Never seen it.
The Dream Hunter.
It gives elite to other units in its combat.
Okay. So it's Moon Pie, but different.
Non-scoring Moon Pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is a hero heavy infantry, speed 7, melee 3, defense 5, 7 attacks with crushing strength 1. Elite is walking around with a dread, which is its own little, thing, and then has unreleased nightmares and nightmare vision. So
Yeah. I used this for about 10 games, and I found with the Dream Hunter, the only thing that kind of sucked was the Crushing Strength 1. It kind of ended up being a little lackluster for trying to give people like elite, mixed with the fact that he's about 200 points and he doesn't have any units back. Yep. And Dread's a great rule, and weirdly, I've found with Night Stalkers it's so easy to give Dread from other places. Like it's everywhere on that list.
The interesting thing for me around it is it's something we've talked about on cast before, which is there are units that may not be the best in the list or the most efficient or whatever, and I think I need to ban myself from saying efficient for the rest of the cast.
I like it when you say it.
But there's a particular player style or something they're used to doing, and John Quayle is extremely used to running Moon Pie.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah, that makes more sense.
He runs an entire sort of werewolf list for a number of years. It's very comfortable with large infantry or characters that need to combo charge to get some kind of benefit. So it might just be that like he is comfortable using that type of unit and will pay the extra just to have it in his list.
Which that can count for something though in this game.
Andy, yes, this is top table. Yeah, my experience with the Dream Hunter is usually any list I put him in. In theory, I like to combo him with Fiends just because they're 24 dice and they get vicious and everything. They're really good with. He's good with Soul Flayers because the Soul Flayers in this list is going to be his main thrust.
Right.
So if he can go like 2 Soul Flayers and a Dream Hunter into something, it'll be dead. I'm pretty sure that's the goal, but I almost always find I just take Shakira instead because she's 30 points cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't make Night Stalker lists without her anymore, but that's one of my weird things with Night Stalkers where I became so like comfortable and love all the weird stuff that she does that I just like have so much fun playing her. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna put this in everything.
This is also probably a really annoying army to deploy against the Night Stalker army because it's scarecrows.
Yeah, and with 17 deployments, I mean, he can just hold back what he wants and deploy it where he wants at the end there.
Right. It looks like John's gone for scarecrows front and center, right in the middle. And I'm guessing that's phantoms that are now going down.
Yeah, it's sort of like scarecrow, phantom, butcher flesh ripper, ripper, more phantoms, mind screech, and then you're like, a soul flare hasn't hit the board yet, and your 10 drops in.
Right.
So the scenario is.
I was going to say I haven't seen anybody use the Aura Rift Weavers since they lost their aura. So
they're still incredibly good.
Yeah, it should be interesting to just see them run around and punch things in the face.
I think they'll do very well from here actually because they're the kind of things that they're cheap enough that you can use them to tie things up, just protect flanks. Tom's real strength is the fact that he can get multiple units into one combat and just wipe it off in one go.
Yep.
Yeah. The Rift Weaver is just a 50 mil base at this point as well. That's still a good unit and needs dealing with.
Yeah, the 2 Horror Rift Reavers, I will never say that word correctly this morning.
It's okay.
And the Butcher Flesh Rippers, that's 4 bases.
5. He's got a Dread Fiend too.
Oh yeah, and the Dread Fiend. That is 5 bases.
You're up to 7.
This job is just to slow down and speed bump this, absolute pain train of Varangur. And being Night Stalkers, it means the thing Tom is usually counting to sort of weaken or remove some of that with his shooting or other units is going to be really hard to pull off.
Right. He deployed both Mind Screeches already?
Yeah, they're down by the Phantoms.
I think we're on to scout moves, yeah. So the scenario is a modified version of push where you can't put your tokens on the same unit. So I believe there's 3 tokens and have to split them around the board.
So it's just good push.
Yeah, good version of push.
Yeah.
That
Well,
I think
he could have
favours
used it,
John
but-
on paper. So
I don't think they're
John's
going to
obviously
go
got the holds
against
that he can put tokens around on, move them around a bit more. I think Tom ideally would want to have all of his tokens on one regiment that he could babysit. Whereas I'm guessing he's now going to be forced to throw them across all of his Night Raiders.
Yep.
If Tom wanted to, he could put one on one Night Raider and then put 2 10 inches in front of that one. Right? Because you're not required to deploy them on the unit. So if you really want to get around it, you can just drop them ahead of where they're scout.
That's true.
Filthy, filthy push tactics.
Good. Yeah, it looks like he's laying him down right now, but
Yeah, place 3 loot counters within the set up area, giving them to different units to carry if they wish. So you do have the ability to throw them in front of a unit and then have them move up and pick them up if you are being extra sneaky and reading carefully.
That line that nobody's ever read before. Who doesn't just put them on one unit?
I mean, I was coming off playing 6 zombie legions, so I would just put them on one unit and run them down the side and pray.
Aging myself in game. So, like, when the scenario first came out, we hadn't figured out that putting it all on one was the right tactic yet. I remember games where we would just throw it in the deployment zone or halfway up the board because we weren't thinking yet. We were still babies.
In the before time.
Right.
Yeah, I remember
times.
I remember the first tournament I was at where like our local store meta hadn't figured out to put them on one and like march them down the side or something, and someone just did that, and I was like, it blew my mind. I was like, what?
Oh, God.
What
I started in 3rd edition, so I'm not aware of these horrors.
What game is this guy playing? He's just marching down the side with a cheap big
That's
unit.
not fair. That's not
And then it really blew my mind when he's like, yeah, I put that in there as my token carrier. I'm like, you made a token carrier in your list? I just took things that killed things.
Your mind just
So
exploded.
it looks as though John's got first turn. I'm guessing he won the roll for it.
Yeah. So
I didn't miss much then.
No, they've literally just started.
That's not so bad.
So the important question, Jan, is what did you get for your lunch?
Pizza. I did Domino's.
There you go.
So I was just getting the little bits that were left over.
The last time I did a Master's Commentary, I was eating a fish finger sandwich and it broke the internet. Because guys from the US could not understand that you would put fish fingers in a sandwich.
I don't see why that's an issue. They even do posh ones now, don't they? Posh fish finger sandwich at airports. I can remember getting it on my last flight.
take your word for it.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Even better with a bit of salad cream.
Sounds awesome.
It sort of is. I don't mind them. It's the kind of thing that my mum would have given me when I was a kid, really. But, yeah, you kind of get to a point where it's like, okay, still quite like it.
That's it. Nothing wrong with it. You come back round again. So, unexpectedly, it looks as if each of the Scarecrow Hearts has got a push token and is shuffling towards the one in the middle.
And then Tom, it looks like he's thrown one of his chimeras way up at the top there.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be tough for us to see, but it will be interesting to see how John sort of deals with it, because it's got a lot of room up there.
It's a bit blurry, but whatever models he's using look fantastic when they're blurry.
Yeah, I think it's the Mantic one at the top, and then some other cool giant, possibly 3D printed monster at the bottom for his Chimera. I actually really like Tom's Varangar army. I know he's previously not been necessarily known as like hobby person and more stomping people's faces person, but I think the Varangar army, as it's grown, he's done a lot of really good model choices. Just cool paint scheme, and it's a good looking army. He has like, I think his Sons of Korrigan are all winged hussars, so it has a bit of a sort of, Slavic old Kislev theme.
I love that.
So
Awesome.
looks like he lightning bolted the Night Raiders, did like 6 or 7 wounds, might have gotten a waiver there.
Mine screeches.
And that's it then. So it looks as if the nightmares at the top haven't really done a whole lot other than just sort of face towards that Chimera.
Yeah.
This is where the speed drop is really going to come in, isn't it? When they don't have that speed tie anymore.
Yeah, it's depressing. Very, very depressing.
Where are the soul flares? Do we know?
All 3 are behind the scarecrows.
Gotcha.
So they're kind of in the line. It's the fuzzy blue purple,
yes.
then the fuzzy blue purple.
This color coding is actually helping me out here. Seriously. I'm like, yeah, there it is.
I'm actually a big fan of this view because it makes me think of what ancient generals might have seen. It's just sort of a fuzzy cloud and like commit troops.
It just reminds me of like Mel Gibson and the Patriot when he's looking out the window with his son. Battle lines are coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you haven't seen that movie, I guess that's lost on you, but it was pretty cool.
It's one of my go-to painting movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
It is not actually a good movie, but it is a great movie to watch while like painting the 15th strap on an ogre.
I mean, it's an awesome movie. It's not a good movie, but it is an awesome movie. Like, that's like every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie ever made.
Hey,
I
those
don't know
are
how-
works of art.
I don't think I can say every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie ever made. There's some.
There are a few that were obviously just running out of money somewhere.
Yes, but I try and contain myself. Like, I own Street Fighter on DVD. I'm fine.
It's a masterpiece.
I
feel bad that that's Raul Julia's last movie.
Yeah. I don't think Jean-Claude Van Damme feels bad about the amount of money he spent on cocaine every day and having an affair with his coworker at the time. What a life.
Show business.
Yep. So, okay, there's some snow foxes, I think. Where they were. Little white guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Tom. I was just thinking that.
But that is a forest, the one in the middle.
Yeah.
That he just popped the trees off of.
Ah, yes, the traditional wargaming forest of a blank base with trees off the side somewhere.
Yes, that's the one.
It's tournament terrain. The terrain looks good though. This is Mantic's
Thank
terrain.
you.
Or
No,
yours?
this is
yours?
my own. Bob spent hours making this.
Yeah, I will tell you from the local terrain we use for the tournaments around my area, like, this terrain's gorgeous. So,
I wanted to give particular thanks that I like those buildings.
Love the building.
At least from here, they look really, really good.
I was talking about that building near the bottom yesterday, actually.
Yeah,
This is where you see it in person and realise that actually this is a really HD crisp shot.
And then it goes
Really
fuzzy as
rare
soon as you
quality.
say it.
Well, we've had the
We
Chimera
show up and
doing...
we realize this is the only table like this.
That's fair, but it doesn't matter. If she doesn't say anything, we won't know. We assume it's all like this.
I've brought down all the terrain. Most of them are like this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Jan's events. I can say they are all lovely boards.
So
I
he
think-
is,
So yeah, really aggressive with the Chimera at the top. No idea if that's managed to avoid an arc over there, or if he just doesn't care.
I think he
I
might
think it's just
be like,
one.
hit
If
me.
it's one Nightmare Regiment, I would suggest that you just don't care and you just take it.
Now we have some
I would have
trademark, I would say,
Tom Bush's
Chimera or Rordian, whatever,
shenanigans.
winged Aralez shenanigans. Like, is there a building anywhere near the middle of the board? How can I slide right up to it and use it to protect myself?
And assumably that thing's facing towards the far wall, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And all the stuff that can obviously see it is he's hoping to put in his flank, and anything that is actually in its front, he is hoping to be out of arc. So it just sits in that little dead zone.
Or if anything was going to front charge him, like a soul flare unit or anything, I'm imagining if he's right up against the building, he won't be able to get 2 units in or anything. But maybe they can't reach him because their threat's now 60.
Yep.
I'm not bitter. It's fine.
And just point out something Tom's doing there, which I think is a lot of players sort of forget to do, is he's calling what he's doing and why he's doing it, and having John agree with him and check and say, I'm here now and I think that this, and this can't happen. Do you agree?
I got told that I don't have to do that on Friday by somebody.
You don't have to.
You don't
No,
have
like
to,
it was almost annoying them.
Fair enough.
Like they were like,
I
they were
always
like,
prefer
and I
it.
get it, it's fine. I'm like, I'm just the intent is to be out of 12. I was like, it's just in case, man. We're on 3D terrain.
Yeah.
Like, and I come from War Machine where you have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
Especially
Yeah, I mean,
a big
Just seems like
model
good
like that
manners
with
to me.
easily clippable wings and
I just find it's always so much easier to do all those discussions before you've made the move.
Yeah, and I never want to be considered like, you know, I don't want somebody to think I'm like an asshole. Like that's why also when people do it, I'll be like, oh, your intent's to be outside of like 12, and they'll be like, yeah. I'll be like, all right, you're good, dude. Like we're fine.
They're
Because sometimes
checking
when
on
people
us,
measure
like-
stuff with a tape measure,
On the other Phantoms,
they don't see it.
having just said exactly that, yeah, I think now John's now.
well,
Now sitting
if
back
Tom didn't
table.
point that one out.
No, exactly.
Talking it down. Hello, kitten.
Uh-oh. I think there's a clock pause.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I
take
think
this
this is
off
the
box.
nobody can charge me here, and he's like, but you didn't ask me about this unit discussion.
Zombies for the win from
This is
Andrew
still
Hawley
good
in the
table
chat.
manners. John is asking before he's going to pick up anything. We're both going to actually agree on the state.
How do we move this?
A classic example of when UB is just better. So I think he's checking if the top Phantoms are in the rear, they probably can charge him. But if they're in the flank, he can't fit because of the building.
Nope. All your precise measuring is now. The other one I'm a big fan of is you always measure the distance for surge before you roll any surges. And agree.
I think actually they were checking units behind the Phantoms.
Yep. It's the whatever that is.
I think it's a Flesh Ripper.
Yeah.
But actually, yeah, it seems to be okay because I think the bottom Phantoms are out of arc themselves. I'm not sure they can see the Chimera.
But the Flesh Ripper.
But again, it would have been easy for Tom to have missed the Flesh Ripper, looking just at the Phantoms. And
is there any kind of yeah, who knows?
Be right back.
I'm back. All right.
That is Night Raiders getting charged, I think, by Phantoms. Looks like into terrain. So
Yeah.
there's more just there to get in the way.
Yeah, that's in the woods, isn't it?
Just blocking stuff up. And then straight into the Frostfang, trying to isolate the Chimera. Take away all its support. And then get all of these menagerie of character or monsters out from behind.
Oh yeah.
Because if
And that's the real danger for Tom, isn't it? If all those small little hitters can clear up this flank, then they've got a lot of rigor room to just deal with those chimeras later.
It's also just is one of the tokens on those Night Raiders in the bottom and one in the middle, or
yeah, I'm not sure where they are.
Because that's a token lost in this backfield or stalled in this backfield.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's just going up. Yeah, I like all the small, just like little monsters and stuff that he has. This is gonna get weird.
Oh, it's absolutely annoying to play against. It's the thing that gave the 9x9 ogre list so much power. It gives a bunch of Night Stalker good stuff. I think Jeff Trace was running a multiple Butcher Flesh Ripper, like 3 Butcher Flesh Ripper, 3 something else list for a while. It's just so annoying.
Yeah, I have.
It's the thing that makes dwarves cry.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of playing the ogre 9x9 exactly once, but it was an experience. But I did, in fact, get to a point where I was like, I don't think there's literally any way I can face or do anything where I'm not getting flanked. Too many angles. I can't see it as well up at the top. I was wondering what he was going to do about that Chimera up there.
It looks and how close it is that there must be some arcs on it, but it's front charges, so
right.
It seems as though he's just said, "Well, come at me. I've got enough stuff that's going to mop you up if you do."
Right. Yeah, and whatever hits that Chimera and doesn't break it is probably getting flank charged right over there.
Yeah, because there's 2 Mounted Suns there, and a Crufnir, and some Foxes, and the other Chimera. So,
yeah. Are those the Suns units up there around that house on the right, upper right?
Yeah, both sides of the house.
They have threat for days, most likely.
And then Crufnir's on the hill, which is the cool model from the
I've never seen anybody
Dead Souls board game.
before.
He's very, very good for what he does, especially when you can give a Chimera Duelist for 20 attacks with Elite and Crush 3.
Oh, yeah.
When you really, really want a character dead.
I always want characters really, really dead, so no, that's glorious. I put Duelist on an Elven King, and it still never seems to work for some reason.
But yeah, with the Rampage as well, it's just there's a lot of attacks there that can do, really quite nasty things.
Yeah, it's a 12-inch declare 1 unit. The main thing is you have to make sure in your army building it's bloodbound units only. But luckily for Tom,
that would be Lords on Frostfangs, Lords on Chimeras, and
there's a lot of that going on here.
The Mounted Suns and then the Night Raiders are not. So you're not giving your fancy Night Raiders bloodbound, but that's okay.
I am back.
Oh, Snow Foxes.
Like,
Try to reach Snow Foxes.
Moving on back.
So what went into the Chimera? It looks like something.
Scarecrows and something.
Soul Flares.
Probably Soul Flare unit.
Soul Flares, yeah.
Yeah, from their height. Probably.
So he's hoping to give up just the Soul Flares, or the Scarecrows, and that the Soul Flares are somehow protected.
Soul Flares.
On average, the Soul Flares survive one Lord on Chimera attack, but it's dice. Like, it'll be like a 7 twice to kill usually.
Right.
I'm worried about this near flank for Tom. The Mind Screech is sitting there just sort of basically free firing at token carriers seems scary.
Yeah, because the very bottom Night Raiders are already dashed out there and wavered.
Yeah, this is probably.
So they're pretty much out of it this turn, aren't they? Because I'm guessing the lightning bolts finish them off.
No, not froze. Can't help that back. Oh, maybe. And there you go. There's our token.
First blood, 1 VP.
Would you like to concede?
Oh,
Are we back to Street Fighter again?
not yet.
Look, I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I think if you like it, and you don't need to feel guilty about it.
Oh, I don't feel guilty about it.
There's no
that's
guilt.
I don't know that Mark has a guilty feeling in his
No,
pocket.
I don't feel guilty about watching Universal Soldier 2 with Bill Goldberg, man.
See, that what I was going to say is that, but there are still some of those movies that are frankly awful. And they skirt that line between awful enough to be funny again and just awful.
What's unfortunate is I started watching it when I was like a miniature person. So like growing up, like I was like, this is amazing. Like, look at these roundhouse kick things. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't do that. And then like when I grew up, I was like, the damage has already been done to my brain. So I guess I'll showing Cyborg to somebody being like, this movie rules.
That's my favorite.
My sanity after that.
That's my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
See, I'm proud of you already.
Just before we move off this topic, he gets crucified and kicks himself down.
Yeah, while having flashbacks about the person who did it to him, killing like his kind of family and putting him in a well.
Yeah,
awesome.
He kicks himself down from crucifixion. That's how good this movie is.
It's great. Yep.
So it looks as if, unsurprisingly, the Night Raiders and the Lord of Frostfang survived the charge. The second Night Raiders have flanked to help out into the fandoms. Is that now your like gauge of how good a film is, even if it's nothing to do with kicking yourself off being crucified? Like, is it better or worse than seeing someone kick themselves down from crucifixion?
It's the way I judge it is it doing what it wanted to do?
Yeah.
And that is how Schindler's List and Pacific Rim can both be amazing movies.
Thank you. Thank you.
But the crossover was awful.
Yeah. The Schindler's List cinematic universe did not take off.
No, it did not. Love Ralph Fiennes in that movie, though.
But yeah, I mean, if it's doing what it wanted to, right? Like if it is trying to be a cheesy road movie and it does that well, then I'll appreciate that for it. If it is trying to be a comedy and it's not funny at all, then it's a bad movie. Things like that. It's what are they trying to do?
Trying to figure out then if you'd appreciate Guyver 2, and if you haven't seen it, you should probably go find that.
Oh yeah.
It's a gem.
But there are spicy moves happening hopefully here. Yes.
Ooh, there we go. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
We've got double
So
charges,
he's,
Griffinir, and
he is just pulling the trigger and going in. You love to see it. So is that a
that's a
sun unit?
Griffinir and a Mountain Sun
Okay.
unit, yeah.
Okay.
And it looks like the other Mountain Suns have flanked the Scarecrows that failed to kill the Chimera, and the Chimera shuffled across to the
As you do.
southwest.
When you got good units, you can just fight everything one-on-one.
I've come to realize this. It's been great. Yeah, finally moving past the 6 Zombie Legion list. I've like just things hitting on like 3s. I'm like, this is what people have been doing this whole time.
It's like when you buy your first modern car. And you're just like, wait,
Air
these seats
conditioning?
heat?
Yeah. Or you just turn it on and it doesn't make weird sounds. You're like, I have to wait 10 minutes before I can drive this.
So now this is the classic.
Is that
Chaff.
smoke boxes just running ahead an inch away?
Yep.
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 And what's hilarious is there's Scarecrows are sat in terrain, so there's a pretty good chance of not breaking snow foxes.
Yep. And that is one of those like simple but smart moves, which is you say, what is the snow fox's job? They are not here to kill something. They are here to slow things down. What is their best way of slowing things down? Not dying. I don't need to charge. I can just run right up to you.
Yeah. And I mean, snow foxes, they have like 10 attacks. What are they really going to do anyway?
Do you know what? We love why they have 10 attacks and all the swarms have got 9. We realised it's because the snow foxes have a snow fox.
They have a snow fox, yeah.
It's a nice little Easter egg. They're the only swarm to have 10 attacks.
Extra attack.
I'm not even going to go look at other swarms because I know that you guys clearly, you seem very confident about this, so you've looked it up already. There's been research done.
Yeah, we're in the pub, so it's a fact.
You guys being at the
That's
pub,
where all the
that's
best
what that
research
defaults
happens.
into.
Yeah. You don't realise that the pub, it trumps, peer-reviewed research, Google. If it was decided in the pub, it's correct.
No, that's fair. That is very fair.
I think that was our logic last night. Taking this lot out drinking was quite messy.
Yeah, any
I like
type
Singapore.
of cons normally turn into nightmares. After hours, it's beautiful.
Who was the late shift?
Oh gosh.
I think Tom was out quite late, wasn't he? From the look of the messages we were receiving.
Yeah, we were kind of the last lot getting the tram back about 1ish.
Okay.
No, that's not too bad.
That's
And
early.
it
pretty good.
wasn't too late at that point.
Yeah, there's the when you have the giant sort of group text and you wake up the next morning and you see people sending messages like, where is everyone at like 4:30 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, at BritCon, I got banned from Fanatics for posting Tom's ass.
There you go.
Yeah, well, you did post it on Fanatics. The rest of us did it in our group chats.
Oh,
What I
wait.
don't get though is I got banned for spam.
Oh, wait,
Spam it.
like
I
you
know that
posted
it
like
was.
his whole ass?
That wasn't spam.
Yeah,
That was
well,
his butt.
He mooned me, so I took a photo of it
And just put it on.
on
Fanatics.
Fanatics.
Well, I think it's been coaxed into it. I believe that there was another bum that had been sent in the chat previously, and the moon was given, so it was returned, but it wasn't returned in chat. It was done on Fanatics.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, I'd had quite a few pops by that point.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's half the fun of game cons. You find out that nerds are savages. Just turn it.
I think it was also your birthday weekend, wasn't it, Elliot?
It
So,
was. It was
Oh,
my-
yeah,
it was my
yeah,
30th,
you
so
were
it was
bound to be messy.
Yeah, that's there was no hope for you from the
No.
very
It was a little
beginning.
bit
You were
jelly.
set out to fail or succeed, depending on how you look at it.
It was a success.
This is why I need to randomly show up to a 2-day tournament instead of a 1-day next
Oh,
time.
Absolutely,
that's-
yeah.
No, did you see the
I only
pictures
have a
of
half memory
Ireland
of you being
flying
there
out,
at that one, because I
window
was-
in boxers at Nerdhammer GT.
I remember asking someone like a few was Brinson at that time? I'm sure he was. I was so like jet lagged. I think it was at that point. I didn't know where I was.
Oh, that happens. Did he just turn that around? Like, I don't even care about the other
Yeah, he
scarecrows
did.
now.
He has to.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's no good charges because he can't fit the flanks of anything.
It did some of its job, which is that entire center was frozen and could not do kind of what it wanted to do and started to back up.
Oh yeah. Plus,
and could not proactively respond to his far flank, right? Like none of that stuff could start to turn. None of it could face towards the Chimera and Mounted Suns that we sort of knew were coming.
Yeah.
So it did that.
Do we know where the other tokens are for Tom?
No, I have text Tom asking him to flamboyantly point at them, but he's not looked at his phone yet.
He's busy. Come on, it's tough on the top table.
Why don't you just call him?
Look, I know you're busy, but
I've done this many a time to people.
We're more important.
I could just put my head through the door, but
Yeah, we're good.
yeah, Elliot, you were saying you were jet lagged. When I went to that tournament, I had like landed 10 hours before, gone out the night in Manchester, and then shown up at your tournament.
There it is.
Thanks.
I'm calling Tom, not John.
Welcome to the O2 messaging service. The person you are calling is unable to take your call.
This is the quality content you're here for.
And now you get the whole thing paused. I don't know.
Does anybody have Tom's number?
Yeah, that was Tom I was calling.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Looking.
You know, I could have just gone into the other room like I offered. Interrupting my top table games.
Does anybody have
Imagine.
Tom's number?
I don't think this is going to go to 8 turns, Jan. You're fine.
No, I don't think this one's going to go to 8 turns. Rich did actually manage to cut off at 6 today and another live stream. So after yesterday's kerfuffle, I must admit there was a lot to talk about that last night in the pub.
Oh,
It's
sure.
like, well, you're a bunch of big boys. You're meant to know how to look after your turn counter.
Yeah, what else is there to say, I guess?
Well, there's not a lot else I could say.
Yep.
Phantom's going to hold. Phantom's hold.
Nice.
Not the end of the world for Tom, I don't think, actually, there.
No.
I'm just so sad I keep looking down the bottom right corner at that sad little token just hanging
Yeah.
out.
It's like 50-50 that a Mind Screech gets down there and gets it. It just floats.
Or any of the other 50 mil bases knocking around.
I'm pretty
they've
psyched
all
right
got-
now. We're getting a lot of hand gestures.
They've all got combat to do. That floating brain is just going to wander on over there and get it.
So it looks like the Soulflare survived the Lord and Chimera.
Yeah, I don't think they got wavered. Or can tell.
Right. I'm going to disappear for a second again. I'll just go and have a walk around and make sure that, nobody's...
behaving.
Yeah.
Make sure no one's passed out under the table.
Sadly, there's not been enough alcohol for that. This lot have been taking it really, really seriously, apart from the few of us that stayed out a
Very
little
proud of
bit.
all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very proud.
Masters. They're holding up the brand.
The Mounted Suns, very unsurprisingly, broke the Scarecrows.
I will say, it's going to sound probably bad. One of the really things that I do like about Kings of War is I can still play this game pretty well while doing like shots even and just being like,
I feel actually it helps.
it can.
It does help.
Play a
It definitely
lot, right?
helps.
You don't second guess yourself that much, I'll tell you that.
So what I would say is that, that's not a bad thing. I mean, I've heard it described differently, which is just your brain hurts less at the end of the day.
Yeah. like I said, I come from War Machine where even like turn 2, you're sitting there meticulously measuring 15 models, make sure they're outside of like 16 enemy abilities. And it's just stressful right out of the gate.
I just remember after 3 games of Warhammer back in the old days, I just physically felt kind of ill and
that's
and
pretty
tired.
much what happened with War Machine. Same thing with Malfo. I just like when I played that, I just like got done with 2 games of that, and I was like, I think I'm ready to like go sleep out in my car.
I mean, I feel like that's where most Malifaux players start the day.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So that's 2 Scarecrow hordes gone.
Yep. The Mounted Sun, delivery line is on is fired up and going.
Yeah, Mounted Suns, they're such a lovely unit.
Best in class cavalry is still good.
Giving people the business.
And now it's going to be, what is that response?
I mean, the response it's Soul Flares, isn't it? But it's not. I think the problem is it's Soul Flares solo.
Yep.
Is the response.
So I've been thinking to myself, it looks like he just made like the Monster Squad down in the bottom right.
Yeah.
And now they're all not there to support that front line. He's just left with Soul Flares.
Because the near side flank with all those monsters is scary and there's lots going on there, but
the middle is going to be gone by the time they break through where they're trying to go.
And that I'm assuming that empty base is a.
I think that's where Tom was looking at a Frostfang.
Did he throw it in?
No, it went into the Phantoms.
Okay.
Oh, the base is just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
Residual.
I thought it was there and just didn't fit, but I guess didn't fit physically the model. Because Frostfangs are overhang city.
Is Tom going for some essential hydration? And is that probably the what's it called? The Dream Hunter ahead of all the monsters
where
that wall is?
And then the Dread Fiend.
What's up?
That's the Dream Hunter, both Flesh Rippers, and the Dread Fiend.
Okay, that's what it looked like.
Monster Squad,
good movie.
That's a lot of investment though to kill some Night Raiders.
They have the tokens.
Yeah.
Hey man,
I look at it as it's a lot of people to hold tokens and pass tokens and do shenanigans, but
yeah. Now the one thing we don't know where all the tokens are, so we're basing all of this off.
Tom's just opened his phone, so hopefully he's currently writing out a reply to me.
Yeah, because if a bunch of those tokens are down here where he's pointing right now, and he starts killing off those units and takes tokens with the monsters and just runs to the corner, middle might not matter that much.
Yeah. When you type flamboyantly F off, let me know. Okay, John's making spicy moves while Tom's on the phone. Let's see.
I like it.
So there's a token. So each of his Night Raiders had a token, and then John's got 3 on one of the Rift Weavers.
Oh Jesus!
So he picked him up.
Oh God. Okay.
So is the Rift Weaver? Where's the Rift Weaver? Is it behind the?
It's behind this top Scarecrow horde, I think.
Oh no.
Oh dear, that's very grabbable when all that starts to die. And this is the problem, isn't it? Is that if all that dies, that middle one's in play, but Tom's in a much stronger position to grab it.
Yeah. So Tom right now is doing I don't care what's happening at the bottom of the board necessarily. Like he
just
cares,
wants to break everything in the center and then deal with it 2 turns from now.
Yeah. Well, not even deal with it. He's just trying to be at the end of the game, sitting in John's deployment zone, having just killed a 3-token Rift Weaver.
I was going to say he's off to a lovely start with that plan. reeling right now that like
Is this turn 3?
Yes.
yeah.
Tom went first, so it's bottom 3.
No, I think John went first.
John went first.
Did he?
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
lightning bolting things before anyone could do
okay.
anything.
So top 3.
Yeah, John went first, right? That's the Night Stalkers player.
Yeah.
Something went into the Sons of Corrigan to slow them down on the backside of that hill, I think.
That would have to be Soul Flares, correct? Or did he have a unit of Phantoms up there somewhere?
I just see a little greenish base.
It looks small.
I think that's an arc.
Oh, it's the Ark, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Free charging Sons of Corrigan. It's not friendly.
I mean, there's the hill in the way, so they can't see a whole lot. Obviously, they can see Soul Flares over the top of the hill. Looks like those snow foxes are just a pain in the ass enough.
Yep.
It's their job. Some of the best chaff in the game. You get so much for your 80 points. Nimble, Pathfinder, stealthy, vicious.
It's like, write a list of things you would like in your chaff.
Like, they're hard to shoot. They move full speed. They're nimble. Speed 8. Like, 10 attacks at melee 5. So just enough to put 1 damage on other chaff.
With vicious. Don't forget vicious.
Yeah, to strip Thunderous or whatever. It's
You like them more than Tidal Swarms?
I mean, Tidal Swarms have an unwritten rule in which they cannot be broken in the first round of combat.
It's true.
It's
Really?
It's just science.
So I don't have to
written.
feel... That makes me feel a lot better. I don't have to feel that bad now. I thought that was just me.
Everyone you talk to has a story about how if they could just break the Tidal Swarms with the 3 units that charge them.
It's always a cav regiment.
I have done 40 rounds with Tidal Swarm and snaked it. Like, 90% of the time you will snake eyes a Tidal Swarm.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that everybody's experiencing the same things I have.
It's just the special Trident Realm rules that you don't realize that Jeff snuck into them while he was rules committee. It's like you can't break Tidal Swarm on your first charge. Ensnare actually works double when it's Trident Realms versus any other army in the game. You know, it's just... They're there once you learn them.
So I really like how Quail's got the Scarecrows here. He's just going to be playing for time at this point. If the Riftweaver just tucks itself behind that building, he can start just throwing away body blockers. Like, the Mind Screeches are going to be chaff on turn 5 and 6.
Yep.
Is what I'm expecting. He's basically just playing for Tom. Now, the problem is Tom committed on turn 2, and ideally for John, he would have committed on turn 3.
I couldn't be certain. It looked as if I think John may have got caught out by something being in range he wasn't expecting on turn 2. There was a measurement and a head drop.
I think it was Thonar's Wild Charge. Or not Thonar, is it Grufnir?
Grufnir.
Yeah. The other troll dude. Yeah, I think he got like a max wild charge or something that got him in.
Yeah, I don't love random movement for every unit in the game, but I like it on a few, just to keep things from being fully, predictable.
As in Wild Charge?
Yep. You can still, I wouldn't want every unit in the game with random move, but...
Well, I've played that game, and I will agree with you. I do not want every unit to have random move. Good old 8th edition fantasy. Yeah.
Here they come. So if I had to guess, what we'll likely see is the Rift Weaver drop the tokens in the next turn and have a Mind Screech grab it. Or the Rift Weaver is going to double for the turn after to do a swap.
This is where you can start to see the full body block mechanics, possibly. Like 250 or 240 mils lined up right behind each other, so you have to charge the front one. Maybe some wind blast shenanigans coming in, just full.
I think this next turn for Tom's can actually be quite crucial, isn't it? Whether he's got enough time left. He really needs his King on Chimera freed up. He needs those mounted suns that are currently behind the hill able to actually properly engage, because there's just so many things that can hold that token that he just needs to get doing it quickly.
It looks like he decided that Dread Fiend's going to go get that token over there.
Yep.
That's interesting, because does that put it
I think the Dread Fiend
inside
is
of that Chimera?
I think it's the blank base.
Yeah.
On the wall.
I see.
Because the Dread Fiend's also much
Oh,
bigger.
okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I was going to say, that's I would want that thing running around and punch people in the face. Love Dread Fiends. Oh, yeah. There you go.
I mean, I think what he's figured out is that he's going to have enough tokens on Tom's side of the board,
right?
If this bottom flank goes well for him, that it's really just Operation Save his own tokens. If those can stay alive and not be scoring for Tom, and especially not scoring double, then he wins. And it's just, secure a couple tokens down here. The one in the corner may or may not matter later on. And Operation, you shall not pass for the tokens on his side.
Yeah. Glorious.
Good old Night Stalkers. Rerolls for days.
Oh, yeah. Got that bitch. Well, actually, with the Dream Hunter in there, it'll be elite bunch of stuff, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he did not get the kill. A little bit unfortunate, but I'm imagining the Lord on Chimera can't see anything.
I would assume so. It would be an odd move otherwise.
The one on the other side of the wall can't see anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from here. I would think maybe are those phantoms still in there?
Possibly, but I mean, at this point, does the Lord and Chimera just peace out and go the other direction to influence the top?
It might need to do, to be honest, because there'll be a point where Tom kind of realises he has to get back to that middle, and he's going to need as many bodies as possible.
Or does that give up his bottom too quickly, and then the monster squad can actually turn back inwards, and we get the full toilet bowl?
Time will tell. But it looks like the monster squad didn't really break anything this last turn, right?
So I think two of them have gone into Lord and Frostfang. So the Phantoms have withdrawn and sidestepped to make room.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the Dread Fiend's in that combat as well. It's just the wall was kind of
Yeah, I think so too.
messing with it.
All right.
Is that your little guy, Joey?
Oh yeah, that's one of my dogs is here. The other one was right under my feet. But it's raining down here in Virginia, which one of mine is absolutely terrified of rain. So I'm gonna have a visitor the whole time.
Just terrified of rain?
Yeah.
Okay.
She is just anxiety riddled.
Oh, that's intense.
I'm also terrified of rain, which is why I live in California.
I was going to say,
On man.
you would not survive long in the UK.
I think I would survive better in the UK. I'm not actually terrified of rain. I'm terrified of my leaky ass house.
What exactly terrifies you about it? Like something just falling down onto you?
Just in general, we're not
Houses aren't supposed to leak.
we're not built for the rain here. So when it does, things just go wrong.
I agree. I'm not sure houses are really like. It's not supposed to be a leaky house.
No.
Okay, so it looks like we did get a waiver on those soul flares at the top, so the Lord did jump over.
Yeah, the Lord pieced out, and then the
I guess the soul flares weren't fully on the hill. I think the Lord probably could have stopped that.
Did he just hit scarecrows in the center? Is that what I see?
Yeah.
Looks like it. And the unsighted Sons of Korrigan got their free sort of cleanup charge and reform.
Right.
They'll hit that, reform.
I wonder if there's anything else into those scarecrows as well. He's got another Lord of Frostbank somewhere under Crufnir that I'm not sure where he's gone now. So
yeah,
it's possible he's doubled or even trebled up into those scarecrows.
Yeah, I wonder if Quail could have withdrawn and sidestepped the soul flares to block line of sight, because if the Lord on Chimera wasn't on the hill, then they would be height 7.
Well, Chimera's coming back for cleanup duty.
If they wavered the cat's house, of course.
I don't know if the withdraw could have done it, but yeah. So the fan withdraw,
right? There's no withdraw in this tournament?
There is.
Oh, okay.
I was misinformed in game 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think they're trying to keep it as close to last year as they could.
Okay. That was the reasoning.
But,
you guys got here on withdrawal. We shouldn't take it away from you when you play for the championship. I do think going in with that Chimera back into the Monster Squad flank it's going to keep that whole flank honest.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's flanked the Phantom, hasn't it? I think with the Chimera, which is beautiful, really, isn't it? Because now it turns around, it watches all of that.
It's going to
force it later on. It can watch the middle, count it, and stop mind creatures.
It's where it wants to be. If it kills them, it then rotates. It's looking at all its opponents. It's there in case anyone tries to make a break with tokens. He has to commit stuff into it, and it just ties up that whole area. Bonus if he can rotate in a way that makes the chargers against him on the wall so that they possibly don't do damage.
Right. And
then can fly away and do all sorts of nasty stuff. Chimeras are a solid tool.
Yeah, Tom and I were talking about this, that the dragon archetypes need to fall out of favour a bit. And Tom really can't get his head around it.
I really like dragons.
They're never not good.
Yeah.
I think the thing for me is there's two parts to it. One is that I feel like in the current meta, it's not, I don't know the right way to say this, but you can't be a dumb dragon player.
Right.
There is a certain level of subtlety you're going to need to get the actual points value out of them. And then the second bit is 2 dragons is way different than 1.
Yeah, agreed. As funny and simple as the statement is, that is like that is a whole different ballgame.
And then when you're adding in the Frostfang Lords and some of the other pieces, they all play really well together and complement. So,
what I find a lot of people do with dragons that makes them feel really bad at this moment is they want to just be a flanking unit with it when that's losing half of its stat line, which is the 17, 19, 18, 20 nerve block on a defense 5. Most armies aren't built to kill that in one go.
And kill that in such a small frontage.
Right. So, it's a very, very good middle piece that can be your anvil if you don't need the flank. Right? You need to utilize the versatility of 5 games.
And this was, again, this is why 2 is so important. Here, they played both roles. You had the flanking dragon and the middle dragon.
So the dragon. So I can't see on where all the various scribblers and monsters are anymore. But the chimeras turn to face the scarecrow block.
Yep.
Which does look pretty terrifying for John there, I have to say. So you've got 2 man and some regiments, a chimera, and then another chimera flanking you, and all the stuff that's started moving up.
I'm guessing because it was out of arc of the other units, and also
I think they're all facing the other direction, aren't they? They're all facing Tom's side.
If anything tries to move through the middle, like anything tries to turn around, come back, do anything. Also, are the snow foxes making a play for the middle token, or is the middle token gone?
They're on the hill. They're threatening.
That's actually a marsh. So that's just a pond, I think.
Is it not a hill?
Yeah. John does have the Dream Hunter, so if he really wants to ground the dragon, it's very doable.
Right.
So he does have the individual to make the wall in play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to be the choice he makes, but
yeah,
there's some opportunities for counterplay here.
Because the dragon will still have some good charges in front of it. It'll just be charging hindered.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Is that another horde? Oh no,
That's Soul Fire.
Soul Fires.
Not Soul Fires.
I think he rolled a 3. That would explain the face.
I mean, at this point, it's just bodies.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everything he's picking up out of that stack of units is another closer to the token carrier.
Oh yeah. Now is that token still in the center? I think I see.
Yes, it is. Yeah, no one's been near it yet.
Can't say I blame them.
No.
Yeah.
And again, this is where snow foxes are going to show their worth if they can jump on it.
And they're just sitting there on that forest.
I think. Swamp,
I think it's a marsh.
Marsh. Okay.
Oh,
I thought that was a hill yesterday, actually.
Scarecrow's down.
Oh yes, it was Krufnir and
Oh, there's the token.
That's a
King of Chimera, and I'm guessing something else because I wouldn't imagine Krufnir and
15
Chimera do that in one go. What do they do? 18 attacks on 3s and 2s.
We're in turn 4 right now, right?
Well, Krufnir's only 5.
He's got Rampage 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Varangur doing Varangur things. So all the scarecrows are off the board, right? Or am I missing one?
There should be one board.
No, I think they might all be gone.
No, the 4th one down at the bottom wasn't attacked. I think he's got them based on regiments, and I think they might be just like split up right now.
Okay.
Jan, apparently someone sent you a message.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Yep. Yeah, I noticed that one.
I'm liking the roundabout way of getting hold of you. Please tell me that's one of the players.
Oh, bless. No, I spotted it. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what funds I've got everywhere because I was asked to pick something up while I was down here at Mantic.
So he's come onto the live stream to check in on the purchase he's asked you to make.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're doing great with the event. You picked me up some halflings.
Yeah. Have you gotten me my single edge grenadier yet?
Yeah. Do you have the arrow?
Oh, he's a Kim player as our James. So sadly, they've not quite got round to releasing that stuff for him. Although I do look forward to seeing what they come up with.
I already don't trust him. Sorry, James. Check that man's
At the end of the
hard drive.
day, it's one of the many people you come across in this game, isn't it? James has been coming to our club for years, and he's a fantastic painter. But he only gets pretty stuff, so his actual gameplay is absolutely pants because he doesn't check what units he's actually doing.
Yeah.
That's intense. probably looks awesome, though. We'll tap that too.
That's my excuse. That's why I brought 3 giants to a tournament when they weren't good.
It had to look great.
I'm like, but they look good.
Nothing up with things looking good. I'm being told how rude by him. It's like, yeah, but I'm honest. It is true. You can play pretty well. You have beaten me a fair few times.
Matt Cunningham's been playing that many giants for years, and the second he stopped using it and used Ratkin slaves, he got to masters.
As in, he was playing Ratkin slaves and got to masters, or stopped playing Ratkin slaves?
No, he started.
He stopped using his giant. He used to run like as many giants as he could squeeze into a list.
Good for
and
him.
then ally in like more giants.
Is it like a lot of tunnel runners? Because that was the only way I could think to make
it's exploding rats. Lots and lots of exploding rats.
Those
that just mentally doesn't work around here.
Yeah, those chariot characters are pretty gnarly though. I ran into them twice and they're intense.
And the living legend Impaler is nasty as well.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
I've looked at slaves and I look at the exploding rats and I'm like, but I'm going to be dealing with 84 up shots every game I ever play. So
for now, yes.
Point in exploding.
Your region makes Ratkin slaves unplayable. Sorry, Joe.
Our region's special.
Or no, wait, you're Mid-Atlantic. Is it just you play in Southeast events, or?
I do, but the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast are actually tied on the amount of shooting they bring. It's just the Southeast is known for it.
Yeah.
We're all like one entity at this point.
Like everybody knows Keith Randall and Jeff O'Neill, but Beaner brings like even more than that. And there's also Goblin players here.
But we love Alan, and it's okay. And I forgive him for playing Twilight Kin. I tell him that every week.
I appreciated him for playing Northern Alliance at Nerdhammer. I would not have beaten this Twilight Kin.
No one would. But I messaged him that every other day for like a month and a half.
Yeah, the Ratkin slave is actually how is that one doing at the tournament? Because I saw the list for round 1. I didn't see how it did.
It went to 8 turns in round 1. So
well, there we go.
How are there Ratkin left?
We've come full circle.
He actually went through having lost turn 6 to turning it around by turn 8 to winning and obliterating his opponent.
I told you, it's the only way to balance out that list is that he just gets 2 more turns.
I was getting ready to say, Joe, you just figured out how to run the slaves effectively. Just play 8 turns, get in there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that plan, which is you just you stop giving people, like, you don't give them more points or more bonuses. You just give them more turns.
Yeah, just keep going till you've won. Simple.
Dwarves become top tier with a 9-round game.
So I stopped by
9-round.
a Lord of the Rings tournament yesterday. My friends were playing in, just seeing that game because I haven't played that game since I was 17, and it was just funny. I was like, so how many turns does this go? Is this a 6-turn game? And they're like, oh no, like you just go until like you break half their army. I was like,
it's just gone there.
So you can just go? They're like, yeah, you can play like 15, 20 turns. It's like, okay. That threw me.
Oh, finger pointing.
There's the first Chimera's down.
That's the King and Chimera dead. I'm not entirely sure what from, but there's still.
I think it's Lightning Bolt.
Yep. It had been hit by.
There was quite a lot of dice being rolled.
It had been hit by soul flares already.
Oh, here we go. Here's dice. I like this.
This is Scarecrow dice there, so it's usually not the scariest of dice. I think there was a 1 there. So just so you know, Matt Cunningham with the Ratkin Slaves was 19th out of 22 going into the last round.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I should have gone back to that.
What is Andy 2D6 Ransom doing down
there? Well, I'll be honest, he's managed a couple of kick-ins. He's not done so very well today.
No. And Cybrand? What's Cybrand doing?
Yeah, Cybrand is just had such unbelievable.
Clearly, he spends too much time on UB and can't play on the real tabletop anymore.
No, I think his dice just gave up on him yesterday.
Size
I
Larry
know there
Ball,
was a
for
lot
everyone that knows
of.
when you be.
Northern Lions is actually starting to lose some units this turn.
Yeah, I mean, it is like there's not a lot of nerve in Tom's list. Like, there's
No.
decent nerve, but there's not blocks of it or anything. So things that hit, and there's not healing or wound removal.
Right.
So every one of those random little charges, every one of those rounds of lightning bolt or
It's going
whatever,
to stay. It's all going to stay.
stick. And this is the part where, you know, the pain
Now we're starting to see the effects of that finally.
Yeah.
Now, is that
But I do still think there's an unhurt Chimera.
Yeah. And then up top, is that still 2 Suns units up there?
2 mounted Suns
Yeah,
units.
two Suns units, a Crufnir. There must be another Lord and Frostfang somewhere.
I haven't seen Crufnir. I don't. I've lost track.
He went in and it's
Crufnir is in front of the
Unhurt.
lower
Spirit.
Suns unit.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the Dream Hunter went into the other dragon, but I'm
Thank
not
you.
certain.
Crufnir's just been at the front doing things.
I'm just being presented with a Ronnie the Bard here. It's fabulous.
Is that a Dead Lord on Frostfang?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. He's coming back.
Has that house not been moved back?
I think the walls moved, not the house.
Is that not a special rule? Slowly shifting elven terrain?
Yeah. Change the terrain so you have to move around it. Yeah, I'm sure that's a special rule.
All of Tom's servants now
So it's
gone.
like,
Some games used to have spells that would move forests.
you did. It was totally balanced and worked fine.
I was playing Saga, and there's a spell that just turns a forest into, like, a monster for a turn. You just get to, like, replace it with a monster and, like,
That
fight
sounds
for
fun.
that turn, and then it goes back into being a forest.
I don't even know how I feel about that. It's insane.
It's fun.
Like, does it just fight the unit inside the forest, or can it?
No, you just control and activate it and do things with it.
That's
So it can,
awesome.
like, just go ham on the other person's army and then turn back into a forest.
That's pretty cool.
But in that game, anytime you cast a spell, you roll for how powerful it is, and if you get the powerful effect of the spell, you end up potentially just blowing up your wizard. So that's fun.
Oh yeah, no, that's the best. Takes me back to the old fantasy days. Thinking. So is there one Scarecrow unit left in that terrain there?
Yeah,
it looks
I think
like
so.
Okay.
And at least one Rift Weaver is there. It might be both.
I can pop my head in and find out for definite if you like.
That'd be good, Jen, if you could. Just sort of get the lay of the land.
Well, it beats trying to ring him again.
You can try. I can FaceTime if you like.
And Tom's the only Northern King that came to Masters.
Yeah, he's the only one that got in. I didn't go to enough events last year to get in. Neither did Adam. Don't know if Paul or Nick did either.
Having to draft in an extra Northern King to get more representation next year. You brought Paul in.
I mean, Adam's disappeared somewhere.
Right, well, yeah. There's 2 units in total, but it's not the ones that we thought they were, I don't think. Just trying to pull up the list. Because as soon as he said it, it's gone straight out of my head because somebody texted me. All these people wanting me to pick stuff up while I'm here, it's just so rude.
And all of them are roughly 45 minutes away from Mantic in reality.
Oh, no. I've travelled 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
So the guys that are asking are people that just don't get down here, really. Although I must admit, I'm not looking forward to the drive back once we've finished.
Is that a Lord on Frostfang right there?
That's a Krufnir.
Oh, that's Krufnir. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's the model from the Dark Souls board game. Very cool model.
There was a fair bit of swearing about the dragon when I popped my head in the door. So it seems that the dragon's just a pain.
Usually are. We talked about there's times when people have sort of strengths. It might be John's used to playing with things like the Dream Hunter or whatever, and then there's also sort of weaknesses, things you just know you are weak against on the board, and for me it's, big nasty flyers.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have things built into my list to take care of big nasty flyers because I'm just not good at dealing with them in the normal ways. So
I think the big nasty flyers also know what usually deals with them and try to take it out first.
When I started playing, I played dwarves and had a fair amount of surge in the list, and that was kind of my built-in, don't worry, you can just turn and surge into it. And then when I stopped playing surge, it was like, oh, you have to actually deal with these things.
I've been really enjoying, at least in my group, we've had a little bit of comeback of just taking 3 lobbers or 3 war machines, and that's been exciting for just taking out height 5 and 6 stuff.
So there's that second lord. We finally found it.
Yep.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so
Everyone in.
I'm guessing he's the reason that Scarecrow Hordes have been breaking so fast.
Yeah.
It's just another body that's been adding him.
Everybody
so
fights.
Maybe the final Scarecrow Horde gone when they can get all of these in at once.
Yeah. Everyone fights. Nobody quits. And are we doing it? Is it coming?
I don't know that the dragon's in range. I think they were checking that.
Surely you don't need a dragon there.
If John had his way, there wouldn't be a dragon at all.
2 Mounted Suns, 1 Elite, 1 Vicious with a Lord and Frostbite, and that should break a -19 Scarecrow Horde. Scarecrow's got nerfed, didn't they, in this version? Yeah, they've got 5 fewer attacks. Sorry, -21 Scarecrow.
Yeah, they went down in price and down in attacks, which is a nerf, but it's not bad.
Of course. Sorry. I think I best pop back into the main room and go and hand out some score sheets because, as we all know, I'm having a lot of fun with the app yesterday, so I'm reverting to pieces of paper at the moment.
Yeah, that I was going to ask how it's going, but that tells me.
I agree with Jonathan Fawkes there. That combo should break anything. But at the same time, a double one would kind of do that in.
Anytime
everyone knows.
That's just Ronnie walking on screen there, so I'm sure they're just about to pause everything. So yeah, we've just had a flying visit from Ronnie. He's come in and he's giving everybody a Ronnie the Bard and Mantic dice and bits and pieces. Yes, Mr. Fawkes. I can't blame it all on the app. Some of it is user error, but currently it's still waiting for last night to finish and catch up.
Tom hurriedly showing him his 2 Mantic models in the army.
I've had that talk with Ronnie where he's like, "Where's your Mantic?" And I have to show him my dead mind screeches.
So the the best version of that I have is Ronnie came by like our club sort of game day when he was visiting California, and there was a very nice person who was a little naive, who didn't realize who Ronnie was. He just didn't know him, and was like, someone was like, "Yeah, that's the owner of Mantic," and he was like, "Oh, do you think he'll sign my book?" And so he walks over there and he hands him his book to sign, and Ronnie takes a look at the game being played, and the guy who's getting this book signed is playing entirely with old, GW Empire models. And Ronnie's like, yeah, sure. And he writes it out and he hands it back to him, and he like walks away and talks to some other people. And the player hands the book to me and says, like, I can't really read his handwriting. What does it say? And it says, buy some fucking Mantic models, Ronnie.
We'll see you in a bit.
So.
Thank you. It's all good fun. I'm...
Okay, so let's see what shenanigans are happening here. Dragon's trying to hop to the other side.
Dragon. Oh, yeah.
One way to avoid arcs is you just stay just on the outside of the battle, wherever that is happening.
Does put him...
That is a forest, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm guessing at this stage, Tom's thinking, well, I don't need him in the middle. No point throwing him into danger.
I mean, I think this might be now a play for the center token.
Yeah.
Put yourself in position to charge anything that goes after the center token.
I'm delighted to see the Snow Foxes have charged the Scarecrows as well. In the flank.
Okay. If they picked up the token, that's the get the hell out of dodge move.
Yeah. I mean, the token there is just on the corner of those Mountain Suns, isn't it? So, in theory, they're going to be the ones grabbing it. But of course, there's still all the monsters of Monster Town. We've got to survive.
All of the various. We make holes in teeth.
Yeah, I think you're right, John. The second they sent those Snow Foxes in, it just tipped to the level of overkill where double ones were guaranteed.
Yeah, the percentage chance of double ones goes up the more we talk about how easy it will be to kill those scarecrows.
We haven't seen Snake Eyes all game.
If Paige slides in with a percentage chance of breaking, it's gonna be locked in at double one.
It's not my fault, John. You're just really good at rolling them for me. Nah, it would have won. It doesn't have regen.
I'm just really interested where this dragon goes. He's trying every direction. This is like live UB.
Yeah, it's hard to see what's safe because I can't quite tell where all of these characters are facing.
Yeah.
It looks like Quail got a little unfortunate with the Dream Hunter not tapping him for one win, if that's what he did with the Dream Hunter.
I mean, it was hindered, right?
Yeah, it's 7 dice, 4s and 4s.
Yeah.
You'd expect one. Maybe he didn't actually charge, but it was just next to him because of models.
Okay. Do we know which way that dragon is facing? Did it just peace out?
Towards the building.
Okay. It just left.
See the time. Obviously been told off for cursing a little man. Sorry.
Tom is
Hi.
doing this correctly. The only way to beat the overkill snakes is to roll everything out.
Yep. In a friendly game at the previous weekend, I did have someone. I put 40 some odd damage on a horde of spearmen and double one it, and then the next round hit it again with a big unit and flanked it because I just needed that move. And the person was still like, not for time, not for anything, was just like, I don't know, like roll some of the attacks out, make sure you do something. And I'm like, really at this point?
My round one at Nerdhammer, I rolled 5 consecutive snake eyes on the Raccoon Formation Shredder.
Game.
That was over 7 turns. The only reason I won, that Shredder would have won him the game, was because he clocked out on turn 6. And I still snaked it on 7.
Just too busy laughing at you to do anything. Yeah, so the Scarecrow Horde went. The mystical double ones didn't arrive. So we've now got a Lord and Frostfang and 2 Mightless Suns looking at that token carrying. It's the monster, isn't it? It's the Rift Weaver.
But the cavalry is coming. The monster squad is swirled around, and
This is it. So they've both got there at the exact same time, haven't they?
So we both just turned. We basically turned the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's just 2 Mind Screeches just hanging out, holding hands the whole game.
Tom has not actually secured his 3 tokens.
Nope.
So if Quail can find
This is
some
top
way to
5,
chat
is it?
block another turn. I believe so, yeah.
Oh, Mind Screech is going in hot. There they are.
So
Is it
they've
turn
got all the
5 that they've now turned into chaff?
Yep. Give rear charges, you don't care.
So, question here then: who would you rather be at this point? Because I think John probably has the advantage at the minute. He's holding tokens, and he's just got more things left.
He did have something to chase the dragon.
It looks like the dream.
Yeah.
Dream Hunter. Ah, they're facing the wrong way.
Is that actually a token down at the bottom, or is that something else?
I thought it was because he removed that.
I think it is. Yeah,
unit there.
yeah, it's token. It's the one that got shot off. It's possible John's forgotten about it because it's sort of in the middle of all the.
So where's Tom's tokens right now?
I think
So there was a token on each of the Night Hunters. So they're whatever killed them. So it's somewhere in the middle of that.
The Night Raiders?
Smash.
Yeah.
The Night Raiders, sorry, yeah.
So
all looks like a flash of
all
the
of
Night
his
Raiders
tokens just on the ground right now?
I think
No,
the
I think
Soul
the Flesh
Flayers
Rippers
and
just
the
pick one
Red
up.
Fiend got one, or the Flesh Ripper did. But if that's the third one,
So Tom has no tokens right now?
No.
That's okay. That's intense.
Yeah, it's a next level play to hide the token in your extra bases and measurement tools.
Hey, man.
Skills. Like hiding the flyer in your dead pile.
It's those brilliant tactics that win games. Bat in the turn 8.
Turn 8 is the new meta.
This can't be a Dream Hunter because there's too many attacks.
I think Mind Screech.
Oh, yeah.
Mind Screeches into the flank of the Snow Fox? Or no,
Yeah.
this is the... Yep. The dragon, right? Now this is Mind Screeches.
That was something into the rear of the dragon, but I'm not sure what.
That would have been a Flesh Ripper. Because that would have been 15 dice.
So the Dream Hunter must be the whatever that blurry blob is, just south of the sort of the marsh.
Yeah.
No, the foxes.
That's the perfect overrun.
Yep.
So I'm guessing, yeah, it looks like the token carrying monster is hiding behind the mouse creatures. It's not a lot of turns left to get it, is it? Just turn 5.
Now it's going to be some precise finger pointing, hand waving, intense gesturing, laser pointing. It's the high drama. The top table. UK Masters. Is this bottom of turn 5?
Yeah.
Bottom of turn 5. Evil on evil. I didn't just mean the armies.
Yeah, we knew exactly what you meant. That's super dead. Mind Screeches.
Is the back mind... So the back Mind Screech is getting hit by Frostfang Lord?
Or no, yeah, Frostfang Lord.
Yeah. So it looks like Krufnir is grabbing the token.
Mm-hmm. And there's still nothing hitting the token carrier. But the idea is this would kill everything but the token carrier. And next round would
giving him a turn 6 to catch a no longer nimble, speed 5.
Yeah, turn 7 and 8 to finish it off.
So if the Frostfang doesn't kill that middle Mind Screech, I think Quail's safe on 6. 7, Tom has all the tokens. There's no way to prevent it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really going to ride all on that, because if it's alive, he can probably orient the Riftweaver in a way to block all charges.
13-15 nerve.
Yeah.
Pretty certain there's a mounted Sun Regiment in each of them, and then the Lord and Frostfang in addition in one of them.
Oh, I thought there was a third unit. That's why.
There's a Riftweaver getting rear charged, a Mind Screech in the front of the Mounted Suns, then one Mind Screech has a Lord in it.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the single Lord Mind Screech is his hope.
Yeah,
Lord is giving them all inspiring, though.
That was on the Flesh Ripper. Doesn't get it.
Oh yeah, not dead.
Something not dead.
That's a big deal, isn't it?
That's the Mind Screech in the middle.
Yeah.
Boy.
Tom's going to need a 7, I think you're right.
This Mind Screech is also as tall as the Lord on Frostfang, so
yeah,
it's obnoxious to get around them.
Well, it's not as tall as them anymore.
It's still height 4, right? It went from height 5.
Aren't Lords on Frostfang? Aren't they height 5?
They should
They're
only be
height
height 4.
Yeah, they're height 4 as well. Oh, they both survived.
That would be...
That's disastrous if that's the case. That's
bad.
I don't think it changes the turn 7 play. Assuming
True.
that they'll all die on 6 anyway. So if he has to get a 7, that's not any different.
This is turn 5, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Oh no, yeah. So it was
So the Riftweaver and the middle Mind Screech survived.
yeah.
I'm guessing the Riftweaver because the Knights are probably hindered there.
Yeah.
So just a low roll on the attacks.
I mean, it's you roll low on nerve for like he still needed rolls.
Yeah.
And
Keep running away.
yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of this. I think it's safer to just hide behind the bodies. Yeah. Since the event does allow withdrawal, I think if he landed there, he probably would have been given up the charge.
So is he just trying to run to the side of them?
Yeah, he's got to find a spot where a withdraw charge is not possible.
Right.
If you just re-roll until you get what you want.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was right there.
So I know we didn't start, or they didn't start quite a while after the stream did, but the clocks can't be looking too healthy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it 50 minutes per player?
There goes the second dragon.
Ouch.
Krufnir's going to have fun by himself now because Tom's had to commit everything to get in those other 3. So Krufnir's going to have to hold that Dread Fiend and now everything else by himself. Dice.
Lots of pointing.
So much pointing. Oh. All right, here we go.
Lord on Frostfang spinning around to come help him.
I don't know that the Lord can actually complete this charge, though. The Riftweavers are in the way of that first 90.
Right.
I think the Lord of Frostfang's spinning around to go help Crufnir, I'm not sure.
I think he's trying to do a corkscrew into the token-carrying Riftweaver. But if the other Riftweaver is farther ahead than his withdraw, he can't actually complete the 90-degree turn to get around him.
Right.
So this is bottomless 6, is that right?
I think so.
Yeah. For checking the custom scenario, see if it's still worth double.
It should be. I don't imagine that's changed.
I don't know though, because it's
Each loop counter where your unit is entirely on the opposing half of the board.
Right. Much as with the bonus score, it's scored out of 7 for the score system.
So currently, if this is turn 6 and the game ends as it stands, John will win 4-2. As I understand, that's what I think.
I can't see any way in which Tom can stop that.
Yeah. If it goes to 7, then John's going to have to kill Crufnir.
Yeah.
And get that unit.
Even if he does kill Crufnir, the better get is a draw because there's still that token in the bottom right corner.
Unless we're just wrong and John has 3 tokens right now. We don't know.
Right.
Bye, Mind Screech.
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm guessing Tom's running out of time. Look at that move.
I would definitely have just reformed him center here, but I guess you can just do it with the other mounted sons, assuming they get this go.
From seeing how Tom's currently moving, I'm guessing it's a clock issue at this point.
Right.
So I think they're counting their tokens.
Well, Tom's the bottom player, right? So he just needs to roll for turn 7 and keep this party going.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think they're just agreeing on board state.
Was that token down there in the corner? Because now it looks like it's not there.
It's gone.
It's
Here we
going.
go.
Now he's
10, 7 rolls.
Got him.
game
All right.
over.
That's
Game
it.
over.
That's it.
Whew.
Well done, John.
I'll have to take them the forms through. Thank you, everybody. Oh.
That was it. That was the power of that many scoring characters.
Yeah.
That table's looking a lot emptier than it was a minute ago when I got dragged through for a quick call.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I missed a lot.
So I think kill-wise, though, I think it's probably fairly even because there's still a lot of the more expensive stuff at John's left.
Yeah, Tom's got 4 units.
I'll go and give them the sheets and then they can write it out for me. Back in a second, again.
That is. It literally did just come down to that turn 7. It's a win, right? Because then he just absolutely.
Yeah, he just runs that Riftweaver over.
I think the Riftweaver's dead regardless. That's just a prayer on his Snake Eyes. But I don't know if John had 3 tokens or 2 tokens on his Flesh Ripper. If he has 3, then it's just can he kill Crufnir?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it doesn't. I think it's still in that bottom corner. No one dies. there we are. Good last game for a final.
So is that it? John's master?
John is master, I believe. I don't think Tom was anywhere near far enough ahead that he could. Couldn't see what score he was on before. He's not going to have scored big points from this though, because it's an interesting scoring system.
Interesting scoring system. I'm guessing that means it's not Northern Kings.
Well, it's not like any scoring system. So there's no points for a win, loss, or draw. It's purely based on what you score on the scenario.
Okay.
So it depends how they're doing the scoring, because you're supposed to be able to get a max of 7. So it depends if the ones in your opponent's half are still worth 2 for bonus points.
Right, because John would have a 7. So he's got 3 on his and 2 on the opponent's.
So he's either got 3 or 7. And as John said, Chris Lynch or James Mitchell could jump around second table.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens.
Well, again, it's much more likely in this scoring system, I think, because if one tables them, it's worth much more.
I especially hate it when I just looked at Chris Lynch's list.
Yeah, bless him. Chris has spent the entire weekend moaning about other people's lists as well, which is hilarious.
Three Glade Stalkers, 4 Silver Breeze, Dracons plus the Dracon formation, and Argus. Oof.
I really like that. That is a solid elf list.
Yeah, no, it's absolute pile of mud. Just filth factory.
I find with elves, typically, like once you play elves for like a year, you realize just how frail this list actually is.
Well, the table 2 was elves versus elves.
Yeah.
So good news is a lot of elves died.
Yeah, wait, which? Sapphire elves. Palace Guard, Tall Spears, Glade Stalkers, Sea Guard.
Palace Guard just make me cringe when there's a lot of Glade Stalkers around. I mean, there's a lot of Silver Breeze and Glade Stalkers between those 2 armies.
Yeah, this one feels like a 2016 elf list. Like this is a Warhammer elf list. Palace Guard.
James is a very good player.
Sea Guard. That's fun.
I always appreciate any list with this grind, Jim.
Yeah. I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think James has ever won a GT, and he's one of the best players never to have won a GT.
Because he's bringing Tall Spears.
Oh, that's it. But he's very good with them,
He's handicapping himself.
He's got his old Warhammer elf army, and he just plays that again and again and again. He knows what to do with it.
This is the he's playing all these things left-handed.
The King's champion, look. Love it.
So, according to John F., if Tom was 3 points ahead of John did get the win by enough that he needed, because he gained 5 on him.
Yeah, I'll confirm. I've just had the sheets handed to me. Sorry, I am muted quite a bit because everybody's now bumbling around me. Tom got a loss with 4 points, and John got a win with 7.
Ooh, so close then.
Oh, so interesting.
So they're tying them.
Interesting.
So that's where the third token was. I think Kirchner has 2 then. That's probably what we're missing.
So Tom and John are potentially tying. So it comes down to skill difference.
I'm going to go back to doing my spreadsheet for a minute and get some of these things input. I'll come back to you as quickly as I can and let you know kind of the top couple once I've got it all in. But I believe I'm waiting on Chris Lynch's game, which could be... They're not due to finish until 3 o'clock. It could be another 10 minutes yet.
It's not on, Jan.
I know.
Can you tell them just to finish now, please? I want to know.
No, I tried that yesterday and it was after time and still had people sulking. It's like, well, it's not my fault you didn't start your clock on time.
Ruthless to you.
You have to be sometimes. And the poor fella here had a party to go to and had been told that he'd be finished at 3. Why on earth they'd tell somebody that they're finishing at 3 when it's definitely going to be after 5? I don't know. One of them. Right, I'll mute you and I shall get this spreadsheet sorted quickly.
Awesome.
Well, I'm afraid I am going to have to make a move, so I'm going to have to sit here tensely not knowing who is master until it pings up on Facebook.
Well, would you prefer that I just pop it up at the end and let everybody go? Because I don't imagine people want to be hanging on for 10 minutes of nothing.
Yeah.
I want to thank you all for coming on and thank you all for the full weekends with the support. It's been brilliant. I don't know how I'd have got through it without you all, to be honest.
Alcohol.
Well, I can't because I've got to drive home and I had to drive to the hotel yesterday. So alcohol has been sadly lacking in my life.
Oh, it's a shame.
It won't be later. I've got a bottle of gin to hit.
And hopefully they give you a round of applause in the room. But in addition, a small virtual round of applause for you, Jan, for running the event. It looked fabulous, and I'm sure everyone had a great time.
They all seem to be okay, although, it gets tense when you've got this level of player against each other. Doesn't happen often, does it, really?
Yeah. That is the one thing I've always loved about Masters. There's no soft games at all. It's it's very hard game.
You lose your first 2 rounds, and your third round opponent is a GT winner, and you're like, wait a minute.
They have been lucky in the fact that we did have one person that dropped out, so I've been using the spur. So the poor spur has well and truly earned the beautiful spoon that's been done by Bob.
No, well done, Jan. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you all, and I'll let everybody go, and I shall end this broadcast.
Awesome. Right. Thanks for having us.
Let's say bye to everybody.
Cheers, bye all.
Bye.
Deal.
Okay. Oh, and everybody's gone.